Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach. Today we are looking at the second part of the VeVe ECOMI Clubhouse. We looked yesterday at the first hour with Trevor, the ECOMI content lead producer. And now it's time to listen to more about, I think, the crypto end of things and the tokenomics side of things. So with that being said, let's jump into it. I'm not sure if we're going to get through the whole hour and a half. We'll see. But regardless, let's jump into it. Mainly because my camera battery, anyway.
Cool. All right, guys. Well,
also, thank you to Carl Wilson for posting about this as per usual. I'll be putting a link in the description to anyone's videos who I react to or look at and analyze. So thank you. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it.
That's all the Trevor questions. So we've probably got another hour, if that works. Now, there's a few questions that have come in that I've just collected in the voice chat channel. So I might just cover those first. It might answer some of your questions anyway, and then we'll dive into the rest. So the first one that came in, Mark from VeVe Wiki. I think you might be in the chat already, but I'll ask and answer your question anyway. So you wanted to know that once ETH2 is completely up and running, will we stay on layer 2 for immutable or look to transition to layer 1? So just to bring people up to speed on that, the short answer is no. Layer 2 gives you scaling on layer 1, but once the merge happens from ETH1 to ETH2, so when it changes from proof of work to proof of stake, you don't then just go back to layer 1. I think the whole user experience lives at layer 2. And that will continue to be the case once all of Ethereum transitions to ETH 2.0. I know it's getting a bit confusing with all the 2s and 1s and all of that. But that is the general sentiment there. Once you're on layer 2, you stay on layer 2, and all other apps and dApps in the ecosystem will upgrade to layer 2 and stay at that point once it transitions to the new network. So hopefully that covers that question. I've just got two more here that I'll quickly whip through as well. Vladimir, what did you ask? You mentioned preparing for Comic-Con and having a store inventory for the next few drops. So basically asking, will we increase the mint numbers to ensure that we have inventory? I think this has been covered before. The commons and uncommons will have higher edition numbers. I mean, just in general, they have higher edition numbers. Whether that happens for every drop between now and Comic-Con, I don't think so. It doesn't make sense to just up the edition numbers on every release. That will still be made on a case-by-case basis. But the purchasing limits will stay in place. Same deal depending on the release that's happening during the week, just to try and maintain some inventory in the store, because if we're attending this huge event in 6 weeks, 7 weeks time, same deal. We don't want to end up in the same situation we've been in for the last few weeks, where new users come to the store and then cannot actually purchase anything or experience the app. So that's definitely in our consciousness for the next little bit. And then IDK 101, regarding the announcement to give the OMI token more utility by allowing users to buy and sell OMI directly, do we think this will make VeVe less user-friendly to the mainstream? Short answer again, no. So the way this works, we will run, essentially it's running two parallel systems. One, you will transact in and out of gems, and the other you'll transact in and out of OMI. So it still remains very open to the mainstream audience because they can transact in gems. It's very familiar. If any.
Something to keep in mind here is that, I think one thing that, regardless of decisions that we see ECOMI make, right, is those who make decisions at ECOMI, right? So I'm thinking David, you, Dan, probably a bit of Reese, but I know he's more of a comms person. But I don't know what his take in decision making is. And also Trevor, from a content perspective, is they fully are aware, I think, of the challenges that crypto faces, which is generally customer adoption, right? Also with blockchain as well, skepticism, etc. And for all of this to work, it needs to be adoptable by the mainstream, essentially, or at least enough people, essentially, many millions, hopefully. And so with that, whenever they make a decision like, we're going to be putting in OMI conversions, this, that, and the other, it's not necessarily going to mean, everything they do is with the intent of being able to be user friendly. So it's a good thing to ask if it's going to be user friendly so that they can explain why it's going to be user friendly. But I do think that, I've seen some people get a bit worried about certain things, and I'm like, the team know what they're doing. The good thing about, in my opinion, and this is not financial advice as it never is, but the good thing about OMI is that, again, it's got a team that has their heads screwed on properly, which means, they're not going to make a silly mistake, most likely at least, where customer adoption, customers are mass essentially adoption is going to be difficult. I think what they're doing is, and what they're going to be doing is making it so that essentially you don't have to understand how any crypto works, at least generally. You don't have to be a crypto expert to be able to enjoy this stuff. I do think that crypto literacy will build up over time, and that's going to be really helpful and really important, actually, really vital, actually. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to have to be a crypto expert. It just means that people need to know how they can use their own crypto if they, buy some or whatever. So just something to keep in mind.
I think it pushes people into the OMI rabbit hole, because if they can see that in the market you can now list things for gems or OMI, you're going to want to. I think most people's inclination will make them wonder what that is. And once you realize the value propositions of OMI and whether holding that, if.
Oh, that's not me. There we go.
Personally, I think that's a really attractive proposition for the token. So no, I don't think it will cut out the mainstream at all. We are obviously very aware of that and trying to maintain that balance as best as possible, whilst also providing people ways to extract value from the platform, and in the way that they choose to. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's open the floor, guys. Who's got the question? What do we got? I'll whip through those two.
Hey, I do have one more question. I know that Trevor left, but hopefully someone can answer this on the team, or if I can shoot you over a DM. And now you know who I am. It's actually the name of my company. So
nice. Yeah, hit me with a question, and if I can't answer it, we'll come back to it.
Yeah. So for instance of, this was the question I was more suited towards Trevor, but for the VeVeVerse, I know you guys have a very expansive realm in mind. Would it be more of like buying land in, like, for example, Decentraland, where you can buy X, Y, Z and have this space and build on it? Or are you guys working with like Niantic, for example, who's been collecting AR research for the past 5 years now from all over the world from Pokemon Go? I'm not sure if you guys have anything in the works on the back end or VeVe's VeVeVerse. I just want to know how expansive it might actually be.
It's a great question. It really depends on the time horizon you're looking at it with. I think initially it will be more of a Decentraland style. Maybe you can buy land to build or expand your showroom and your own mini games and that kind of thing. Maybe the licensors end up with their own. I've heard people throw out ideas of like their own little digital theme parks and things like that. So maybe there's opportunity there to bring in the actual IP holders to create something in the VeVeVerse as well. I don't think that will be anywhere near the first iteration of it. But could be later. Dan mentioned in a video a few weeks ago the possibility of an augmented reality overlay. Like almost overlaying parts of the VeVeVerse in the real world. Now, I don't see that really being a practical future until wearables are practical.
Totally.
And I don't know what the time.
And what's good is that like ECOMI aren't waiting on that. You know what I mean? Like we can still enjoy what our current technology that is consumer friendly, etc. They can build the customer base and actually really build trust with consumers with something that people can already, that's tangible, that people can actually enjoy, can relate to, etc. And then once new technologies like wearables come in, where it is consumer friendly, where it is from a both user friendly point of view and also from a price point of view, by then, ECOMI and VeVe will have already hopefully built the trust among many millions, so that once wearables are a thing, I think people will be really excited, not just, iffy, but actually, or speculative, but actually excited to jump on to that new technology. So that'll be a lot of good.
There's maybe 5 years or something before they're really breaking ground, and whether that, whether the capacity to overlay a virtual world on the real world is available, then I just don't see the tech quite being there yet. But in a long enough time horizon, 10 years time, you have wearables on and look at your actual house and it looks like a castle because you're seeing it in the VeVeVerse or something crazy like that. Like, that's what I'd love to see. I'm not at all committing to or saying that that's where this is going, but it really just depends on how far out you want to zoom the lens, I suppose.
So
Thank you so much.
Going back to the people who are using scripts and bots, I'm assuming they got some pretty good collectibles by doing that. So can you speak upon what's going to happen to their collectibles if they get banned from the app or whatever?
I actually don't know. I don't have that knowledge. That's a Dan thing to deal with. I guess it will depend on the capacity, what was taking place, how it was taking place, how long for, all of those kind of things. Obviously, it's a breach in the terms and services, so we have every right to hold on to those things. But it's a pretty delicate subject. We are dealing with people's money and things that people have committed to the platform. Obviously, for the rest of us that have been using it the right way, it's really unfair, and I'm sure that the little inner demon in us would like to see everybody punished for it. But as to the exact punishments, and like I said before, I think it'll be a case by case basis, whether it's account suspension, complete ban. I'm not 100% on that just yet.
Sorry, I have a few questions. One of them is really kind of general, actually, right off the bat. So, from what I've heard, is it the case that the VeVeVerse is going to be a slow progression from the current showroom? Is that the case?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate way to put it. It will start with because the intention behind the showroom is to have that digital space, the customizable, space that everybody can use their own creativity in. And once we move beyond the phone, it becomes a lot easier to customize that space. I think the first iterations will be more showroom gallery based because, fundamentally we're building the VeVeVerse or whatever iteration that is to enable more capacity for your collectibles and for that customization. So that's where the focus will be to start for sure. I know a lot of people are hooked on the idea of gaming and using these things as avatars and all of that stuff, but that's a down the line iteration for sure.
Sure. And this second question is actually directed specifically at you. I think you're perfect to answer this question. So obviously on the VeVe app, there's quite a few collectors. We'll just say VeVe collectors. What is your plan to, or do you have a plan to maybe transition some of the VeVe collectors into OMI holders through some kind of app, through the application? I know, for instance, on Coinbase, they give you free cryptocurrencies for just watching videos about the currency. I mean, is that something that you maybe foresee with the VeVe app to try to transition some of the VeVe collectors into the OMI holders?
Yeah, absolutely. It was always spoken about when we were first launching this that, the app was built and targeted to the mainstream, but once they become more comfortable with the idea of digital collectability, then we can handhold people through the rest of the ecosystem, which, obviously includes the OMI token and things like that. But I mean, this whole industry is so nascent. Really, digital collectibles, maybe outside of VeVe and Top Shots, I think it's fair to say we're not really mainstream yet. I think most of our audience has come from the crypto crowd or friends and family sharing it, which is pretty incredible. But I think the first step has always been to really push the value propositions and the narrative behind digital collectible collectibles and collectability and the reasons why they are valuable, and then walk people through the rest of the ecosystem. Now that we're moving to direct OMI listings, I think that part of that job will be done for us anyway, right? Because I know I personally, that would be enough to pique my curiosity and wonder what that is, especially if you feel like other people are getting a better deal than you, which is fundamentally the case if you're using OMI. I think that's enough to start walking people through it. And just as a generalized kind of look, the whole narrative around crypto has changed again in the last, call it 8 months, I guess. And obviously that's predicated on the number going up, right? That's what gets people interested. But every time one of these bull markets happens, more people stay involved in the ecosystem. And over time, we've seen that upward trajectory of adoption anyway. So I think same deal, right? As licensors, as collectors, as fans, everybody becomes more comfortable with the idea of digital collectability, and the crypto ecosystem puts those puzzle pieces together. I think people will take that journey anyway. But yeah, we do have plans to walk people through the ecosystem if they're interested.
Have you guys given thought to like creating a default NFT upon downloading the app so people can have something to, mess around with right off the bat without having to pay?
Yeah. We've talked about things
That's
like
really
that.
smart. I like that.
Without having to pay, or just, like so affordable, that people can just come in and collect it. Maybe it's like a VeVe logo or a badge, or just something to be able to use the AR and the features, right? Because that's what we really found when we were running out of inventory, or when we were selling out all those drops. You'd come in, some users would spend a few weeks trying to get a collectible, couldn't get anything, so they couldn't even play with the AR or their showroom. And if you don't have any collectibles, the rest of the app is kind of moot. So yeah, it's definitely on the table. It's been discussed. Any content like that, I don't think will be licensor based. If we're going to release like everyone can have this thing to try it out. But before long, you'll also have the accessories too, which will provide an infinite range and library of new items and things that can be added to showrooms. So maybe that fills that gap for a little while as well. But yeah, look, same deal with everything else in the app. We'll continue to implement and roll things out that make the user experience better, because that's what it's built around.
Since you mentioned accessories, will everything have a limited mint, or will there be some things that are unlimited, like the accessories?
I think it will depend on the accessory. So if it's things like stands and shelves and plinths and things like that, like, yeah, I'm assuming it will be capped at some point, but we're talking like there might be 500,000 of a type of shelf, or, bases and plinths. The idea behind those items is more for customization and self-expression than it is for collectability. You don't really get like a limited edition shelf. The items that will be limited will be the composable items whenever they start to roll out as well, which would be your collectible customization. So, like a different cape or a colorway or things like that actually augment your collectibles themselves. They will be limited, but when it comes to showroom items, I think they're not going to be infinite, but we want people to be able to customize their space as much as possible. So they have to be pretty high run items.
I did have a question. I'm sorry, you can go ahead. I'll follow up after you.
Oh, it's just a quick one, really. It's just about, I'm new to TikTok, but the amount of people that have asked me about VeVe because of TikTok.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Are you planning to have an account there, or if it's there, I might not have seen it? Because I've found that a lot of crypto influencers are now using TikTok as well. Yeah.
Same. I guess it's part of the whole media rollout.
Can I make it very clear now? I don't watch TikTok at all, but I am so damn bullish on it. From a user base point of view, from a marketing point of view, I'm so damn bullish on it. I have a TikTok, but it's for Valorant. Maybe I'll start up a TikTok, probably will for this stuff, but that's going to blow this all out the water because TikTok is just such a young generation. And as crypto YouTubers, and not just crypto YouTubers, honestly, as influencers on TikTok in general are able to use NFTs in their content, the mass audiences are just going to want to flood in. They're just going to want to use it.
And marketing and all that kind of stuff. We're bringing in some very experienced social media people because my skills only extend so far, and they will start to leverage all the platforms. As we've all seen, VeVe content is incredibly shareable. The amount of user-generated content that comes in every day is just, it blows me away. The memes, the videos, these things that I've been seeing in the last 48 hours just have me laughing all day. And that's the case, across all social platforms. So the more exposure we can get and the more audiences, the better. When it comes specifically to TikTok, I think that with each new platform that rolls out, the generations that are using it get younger, and I think that people have migrated from Instagram to Snapchat to TikTok. There'll be something else in 2 years' time that changes. Just
well, the Snapchat itself has they put out some crazy stats the other day. About 90% of basically teenagers essentially use it, which again, obviously needs to be with parental permission or guardian permission or whatever. But these are the platforms that really, these not even platforms. These are the audiences. These are the demographics that are probably going to push this to the next level. Because again, as we all know, young people, when they get into something, especially when it's tech-based, there's no stopping them.
And we want to definitely be leveraging those audiences and trying to stay ahead of the game there. So, yep, I think you'll see VeVe on TikTok before long for sure.
Awesome. My question was about, partially was already answered. There was a discussion a couple of days ago about something that may have been mentioned in one of you and Reese's weekly updates about mints that go unpurchased being burnt. A lot of people, well, I won't say a lot of people, a couple of people thought that the Batman While Laughing was being burnt because of the bug, which I knew it not to be the case because your whole purpose of locking down and limiting accounts was to make sure that for the new users that come in that they actually have content to purchase. But I did miss that, and I went to look for that in one of your in the previous couple of announcements, but I couldn't find it. So if it was a thing, could you restate or kind of explain that to me? If you don't mind,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely spoke about it more 6 months ago. And then David spoke about it in the recent video with myself, Dan, and David, just to kind of reiterate. So, yeah, I think people, it's really only people that are trying to quick flip these collectibles that are worried about them not selling it, right? Because they think that gives their collectibles instant value. And David made a good point of saying that, if the price of collectibles, goes up 5 or 10x the day after we're selling them, we haven't priced them right. But to the same effect that, so we up the edition numbers for more content to be in there or to balance that out. But if we overshoot, if there are items in a store that are in there for 3 months or 6 months and just genuinely aren't selling, there's no intention behind, say like we're keeping inventory for Comic-Con or things like that, then we can just retire those collectibles. We pull them from the store. The same way that I guess the easiest comparison is any normal store, like a physical toy store. If you have items that aren't selling on the shelves, well, you move that and put something else on the shelf. You take down and it becomes a whether they get destroyed or whatever happens to them. So yeah, same thing for us. I think it's important for people to realize that if there are items moving forward that don't sell, and look, undoubtedly, I think there will be.
Yeah.
Right. With over 100 brands.
And that's only healthy, right?
And however many series releases and things that happen, there are just going to be some items that are less popular than others. That's just how it is, right? So we absolutely have the ability to just retire those from the store, which is what David was saying in that video, that we could see a day that the commons or the uncommons possibly become rarer than a rare. when it comes to edition numbers or something like that, because they can be retired from the store. And I think that happens in the physical collecting world too. Now, look, realistically, if we're minting 1,500 ultra rares and 20,000 commons, unless only 1,000 commons got sold, it won't just instantly become more rare. But over time, as those collectibles disseminate through the community and the holders of them are spread further and further out, and there's more and more people, those items stand to become rarer as a collectible. Same way, I guess, in the physical collecting world, that over the 10 or 20 years since a product is released, well, a lot of them do just get thrown out. They were kids' toys. They were this or that. So an item that may not have been that desirable originally is now, because there's only 100 left or something like that. So does that answer your question?
Perfectly.
Nice.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem. Take a few more from the floor, guys, and maybe we'll wrap up the last month as well. Just it was huge. But hit me.
I got to say, people in this community are generally so, at least in the clubhouses, they're so appreciative and polite. It's awesome to see.
I got a question about animated NFTs. Is there a...
I suppose generally, if you're in here, you're interested. It's not like you're on Twitter and we're just going to start crap talking people. I suppose here people take the time out of the day to be here. So yeah, it makes sense. But
is there a certain group of NFTs, let's say like the Batman Black and White, that will never be animated or will all be animated eventually? Can you speak to that?
I don't know specifically, but I can say that it's in some of our earliest articles that we're releasing 3 different types of collectible. So the first type is the static models, which is what you're seeing now with the Batmans and things like that. And I think it's pretty safe to say they will remain static. That's how they've been released. Maybe some of them have little Easter eggs or like the Ritmo get a little upgrade. But generally speaking, I think it's safe to say that they were sold as a static item. They will probably remain a static item. The second iteration is the animated collectibles. There's been some early previews of is it Velcana, the dragon from Monster Hunter? I think was on David Yu's Instagram a little while ago.
Yes.
Yeah, which looks pretty wicked. I don't know on that.
Knowing that one, man. Huge Monster Hunter fan. Velcana, Black Diablo, all of those awesome collectibles. I know.
Oh, awesome collectibles, awesome IP. Just really kind of changes the game on that front. So there will be then the range of animated collectibles, which will be those collectibles, and really once our production pipeline is caught up and running up to speed, I think we will end up releasing more animated collectibles as well. There'll be a whole range of animated, a whole range of static. Maybe the artist works become the static ones, and the other ones become more animated or interactive, like the DeLorean Time Machine, the Batmobile. I don't know if you guys have seen that preview on David Yu's Instagram. I cannot wait for that to roll out. And same thing, you'll be able to open the doors, turn the wheel, maybe there's some lights on it or something like that. So I guess within the animated range, there's different levels of animation, whether they're those kind of animations where it's something you're interacting with, or whether it's like Ritmo where it's in a constant loop. And then the third tier is the controllable, or I guess it's better to call them more interactive, but that will be when these collectibles really become digital toys as opposed to just digital items. So whether it's driving around your Batmobile or your DeLorean or things like that. So I can't really speak to which ones will become animated, but obviously as our production ramps up, more collectibles will just be available as animated collectibles from the start.
I got a quick question. Since we're kind of, switching to immutable and being on the Ethereum blockchain, essentially, can we ever kind of expect maybe like a bigger IP or a brand that might be on a different platform or like OpenSeas, where one day they might say, hey, you know, why aren't we on the VeVe app? And where maybe they, you know, decide, well, let's be on the VeVe app too. Can we ever see outside brands, or maybe brands specifically that aren't on the VeVe app currently, also be on the VeVe app one day? You know, kind of referring to the last, I guess it was the NFT summit where the F3 guy, Matthew, was talking about kind of something like that, where, you know, maybe one day, you know, can you kind of speak to that if you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. I know what you're getting at. Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. These companies are licensing companies, right? That's how they make a lot of their revenue these days, and it's by essentially renting out their IP to different brands or companies like us. So some brands, say F3, I think, I can't remember what blockchain they were already associated with. The terms of those deals would have an end date on them, at which point, you know, that brand themselves, the IP holder, would decide if that, you know, the ongoing partnership is suitable for them. It also depends on the capacity of that agreement. So if they're offering one specific type of collectible or interaction that users, you know, can use that IP for, and we're doing premium 3D models, you know, if there's a variation there, they can license to both companies. You know, they're not, a lot of these deals won't be just, this is the exclusive deal, this is where we're staying. And the way that these companies work, you know, if we have the user base and the most seamless onboarding experience and the best user experience, and obviously with that comes ongoing hype and attention and value appreciation, it's in the licensing company's best interest to migrate to us or wherever is suitable for them at that time. So yeah, I don't think, like, it's not like the game has been lost if a brand you know and love is on a different platform, because there will always be capacity for these companies to make their content available on VeVe.
Appreciate it.
No worries.
I have a quick question for you. Will we be able to sell sets anytime soon?
Soon depends on how soon. I'm not sure on the timeline on that, but yeah, it's definitely in the works. I think we'll get over these market sorting and implementations first, and then hopefully get a bit of an updated roadmap from Dan as to the next planned developments. I think I've mentioned, and we've mentioned a few times, that we've recently welcomed a whole bunch of new devs, and they're kind of up to speed now, which has opened our capacity to roll out these things much more seamlessly. But I don't have a timeline on it. I can't say it's not going to be this week. I can tell you that much. But
and one other quick question about the Master Collector program. It's been mentioned that maybe you don't need a lot of sets or all of the sets to participate. Can you give any insight about how points might be gained, or how that might look otherwise?
Yeah, sure. So points can be gained, or will be gained, through a whole variety of things. Obviously, yes, collecting and completing sets will earn you XP points, but so will sharing photos, so will liking and commenting. You know, it's obviously as a layer of gamification, we want to make it enjoyable, but it's also part of the app retention strategy. You know, if you can earn points for daily streaks or something like that keeps the user coming back to the app, you know, there's going to be all of those kind of options as well. So there'll be a range of ways that you can earn points towards your Master Collector ranking, and there's a range of collector rankings, right? Like, I don't know how many, but let's just say there's 10, and then once you get to 10, you're a Master Collector. But on the way up, you might be a junior collector or a senior collector or something like that. So yeah, depending on the ranking, the activities to earn points might change, all of those things too. So look, collecting, obviously the core function of the app is to build a digital collection. So you will obviously earn points from that. But we don't want that to just become something that prices everybody out either, right? If I come in and I have lots of money and can afford to just buy everything in the market or everything in the store, well, then it's pretty unfair to the little guy who can't do that. So there will always be a balance there between, you know, earning points for activity, earning points for economic spending, and whatever comes of that.
Great. Thanks a lot for your time.
No problem.
So, Reese, I was wondering, do you know if there's any more Easter eggs coming out in regards to the Season 1 collectibles? It was kind of hinted that there was more than one. I know we saw the Ritmo animation. That was super exciting. Can we expect to see some other surprises coming out here in the following weeks?
I don't know if there'll be Season 1 or Season 2 or which bits and pieces will become Easter eggs. I mean, the Ritmo was a surprise to me 2 days before it happened. So, yeah, I mean, all I can really say at this point is there will be other Easter eggs and other little fun things, but as to which ones and where, yeah, I'm not 100%.
So, Reese, I'm a competitive guy, and like when it comes to the Master Collector program and mini games that you guys might have for us in the app, are you guys going to have some kind of leaderboard so we can know where we stand amongst all the VeVe users?
Yeah, maybe. Like it's definitely been requested and spoken about. The only thing there, or the only hole I see in that, is that there might be a lot of users that don't want you to know how big their collections are or what status they're at. So yeah, I think it's probably more likely that we'll see little secret clubs spring up. You know, if you're a level 5 collector, there might be a separate chat room for you guys to have a chat, or if you're a master collector, there might be a separate chat room for those guys. Yeah, I'm not sure about the leaderboard thing. Maybe it's something you can opt in and out of if you want to see where you're at there. And fundamentally, I mean, a leader in what, right? Like if the goal is to become the master collector to then receive all of the benefits and incentives that provide, well, once you're there, you're kind of there, right? There's no like number 1 master collector, or well, I guess from a competitive standpoint, there is. But there'd have to be some underlying functionality or purpose for the leaderboard for it to be a viable thing.
I was more so speaking to the games. I mentioned the Master Collector program, but I was more so talking about like mini games or whatever inside the app.
Oh yeah. I think any mini game like that would operate the same way that normal games and things do. Like, I don't know, maybe you go into someone's showroom and they have like a little pinball machine or something, you know, and it always had the scoreboard and the winning scores and that kind of thing. Like, yeah, you could definitely have something like that, depending on the game and depending on the iteration.
That would be amazing.
Hey,
yeah, go for it.
All right, quick question. Which this question sparked another question that I had previously that I forgot. So you stated that in the future we're going to have the capabilities of seeking out mints and then possibly offering a trade to someone, which would mean that we would be able to put the mint out there and send trades. Let's say if I have a very popular mint, is there a way for me, the mint holder, to go private so that people can't spam me with trades if I have a real low mint or real special mint? Is that something that we can turn on and off as the holders that takes us out of that loop?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, all of this is just ideas and speculation at the moment. But it's been discussed that, you know, maybe people can, if they're in your showroom and they can tap your collectible and it will come up with the edition number and that information and maybe make an offer there, you know, maybe that's an iteration of the VeVeVerse. And until something like that becomes available, really the only way people can send you offers is if you're listing your collectible. So it's not something to worry about in the short term anyway. But yeah, any implementation like that we roll out, we obviously don't want you to then your phone just to be going off every 5 seconds because people are spamming you with junk bids or whatever. So whether it's a way to toggle in and out of it, it might be as simple as, you know, you placing something in your showroom or something you own and there's a little toggle that says, you know, accepting offers or not accepting offers.
Yeah, like a trade block.
Yeah. Just to make it, you know, I think that would be the easiest way to do it. So that people know that you're open to offers as opposed to, you know, and within that, I would think that, you know, open to offers over 1,000 gems or over, you know, I think you would have to set your own floor price there and have the ability to set a floor price just so that you're not getting lowballed by everybody. So yeah, same as everything. As those implementations are developed, all of those aspects will be ironed out as well.
Nice, thank you.
No worries. And look, fundamentally, that's same as what we're doing now, right? All of this discussion and this feedback, how we shape those offerings too, right? So obviously we'll continue to do this moving forward, and collect feedback from you guys so that we can make it user friendly.
Hey, I do have two questions for you before you leave.
Yep.
Really quick. One's a personal question, and one is about actual.
Oh, they still there?
Oh, just lost you there, mate.
Sorry about that. The first question was about staking, and the second question's a personal question. But the first question is, when would that be implemented? If you have a general date, I know, you don't know everything. And also, would you be able to stake items, or is it just going to be OMI tokens compared to VeVe collectibles?
Yep. The first iteration will just be tokens. When end of the year, maybe like later in the year. It's not, there's a lot of things to implement and roll out between now and then that I think will provide more value to the everyday user. Obviously, as token holders, the sooner the better for all of us. But if obviously the staking can't roll out until the master collector rolls out anyway. There's no real point or value prop there. So once that's rolled out, maybe we'll have a better time horizon and timeline on it. When it comes to staking the NFTs as such, within the app, I don't think it's part of the plan. But once we move to Immutable and you can move your collectibles outside of the app, which initially will be through the Immutable marketplace, I would assume, and then anything else that they become interoperable with, or as more apps move to layer 2. And maybe you guys have a bit more knowledge in this field than I do, but I've definitely heard discussions of being able to use your collectibles as collateral in DeFi, and there's definitely liquidity mining programs that surround the NFTs. It's not so much a staking of the NFT, but if all the resos have a floor value of, let's just ballpark it at 20 grand or something, then you might be able to send that out of VeVe across the Ethereum blockchain into another protocol that supports the same ERC 721 standard and lets you, say, borrow against it in Aave or a protocol like that. Now, I don't think those protocols are at that level yet. I don't think the platforms are there, but I do think that is part of the future of the NFT industry. And if we have the best collectibles and the best IP, which we do, I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's actually been very.
Yeah, no worries. I might dive into a bit of research this week and see if any of those things are available yet. Anyway, yeah, I mean, fundamentally, as a collector within the VeVe app, you kind of are staking your collectibles, right? You're holding them, whether you're holding them for enjoyment or holding them for value appreciation or whatever. But you don't want to incentivize people to just never let go of them either if they're holding it from a value standpoint, because then we don't have a market. If the rewards are too high for never selling or doing nothing with your collectibles, there's no secondary market, and that's no fun for anyone. So there'll be a balance there as well.
So I saw you on Twitter talk about Gods Unchained, maybe a tournament there. Could you maybe elaborate on that one?
Yeah, that was just a throw-out idea, but I was playing Gods Unchained last week or the week before, and I think I mentioned previously I dabbled with it before Ethereum gas fees got way too high, but now it's a pretty seamless experience. I don't know, it could just be a fun thing to do. Have you guys experimented with it? Is anyone a player of Gods Unchained?
I started an account up when you guys mentioned it the last time, but prying my kids off of the Mac right now is a task. So,
mate, get them to play.
Yeah. Now, is that a child friendly game?
Yeah. It's like a Magic the Gathering style game. I mean, yeah, as long as you're okay with seeing cards hit other cards, I'm sure your kids would beat all of us at it.
For sure, we might have to put them up there and let them recoup some of his food money.
That's it. Earn that keep, you know. Look, I think it could be a really fun thing to do. Organize a community thing, bring more awareness to Immutable, bring more awareness to the capabilities of the chain as well, so that people understand a bit more about why we're making the move. I think would be very beneficial. If anybody else wants to go ahead and organize it, feel free. Otherwise, I'll look into it this week.
Yeah, Granola has already got this Granola Games thing going on, so maybe we'll hit him up and see. But what would be a good starter pack or starter? You know, what do we need to kind of get started in that?
Once you go through the tutorials, I think you're given some starter decks. You open some packs up, and then the more you play, the more you get. I actually don't know if there's packs available for sale at the moment. When I was looking the other day, it looked like all their sort of season 1 decks had been bought. So we could always just make the rules a very simple, like you can only use the default decks. I mean, I'm running under the impression that none of us know what we're doing anyway.
Nope.
You know, so if everybody wanted to go through the tutorial or something, and then we could look at opening a bit of a tournament there, we're going to know straight away if someone is better than everybody else. So
play play for Resos.
Yeah, maybe. Just a meme. Just a meme.
Yeah.
And I can say that their Discord is kind of reminiscent of VeVe's. They're real tight and very, very helpful.
Nice. Yeah, so maybe we could bring some of those guys in.
Nice.
That wasn't me.
And use
That's Kyle.
So maybe we do that. Maybe we do it in the Granola Games channel. And while we're here, we may as well shout that out. There is a channel in our Discord server titled Granola Games. And Mr. Granola has designed and developed some really fun just community games based on the VeVe app. So he, you know, I know one, for example, he'll hide a listing in the market and drop some clues, and the first person to go and find it wins a prize and things like that. So I think he usually runs them around drop days. If anybody is interested or wants to just pop in there and find out a bit more information, I'd definitely recommend it. It's just another really fun way to be involved in the community.
Reese, I got a question. The ECOMI shared wallet. Do you know when it's going to be back in stock?
I don't. It's being manufactured at the moment. It's quite a difficult piece of hardware to manufacture, and it's been in production for a little while now. So I might ping Dan about that.
Okay, so it's currently 11:20. I'm probably gonna do another quarter of an hour. Just listening in, sort of, hopefully giving my own takes on stuff. I'm also just like trying to listen in and learn a lot, honestly. But yeah, I think we'll go for another quarter of an hour. Whoopsie.
And just see if we've got a bit of an update. There is a new app update rolling out very soon. I think it's in QA now. And I think the intention is to get that out before we open up the store again. It just fixes a few bugs and issues people have been having with the current app. But I think that's pretty close to release now too. So I'd say they'll both happen around the same time, or maybe they're trying to time it for that. But as soon as I have more information, I'll drop it in the announcement channel.
I have a quick question about the secure wallet.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to switch chains, I think that we'd be able to put our stuff in the secure wallet or keep it on the secure wallet.
Whoa.
Your sound got a bit off there, but I think I heard what you're asking. When we switch chains, no, there will still be some sort of token migration. So yeah, whenever that ability is enabled now, you can store ERC20 tokens on the secure wallet now. The new app version makes that much more seamless. So I think whatever the swap site is, or however that's facilitated, you would send your tokens to that and then just put in the recipient address as the ERC21, and it will send you back the the Ethereum based token, and then it'll be on your wallet.
Date again for that was what?
Or which for the migration?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no set date yet. It's obviously in the works. There's quite a lot of technical hurdles to overcome to be able to migrate. Obviously, VeVe plus all the secure wallet infrastructure plus all the notifications and information that has to go out around it to allow people to do it and understand how to do it. So it will be a work in progress over the next, call it 2 months, 3 months. And then the actual migration, like the time you'll have to move your tokens, like I think you'll have 12 months from that point or something like that. We obviously need to leave it open enough to continue the notifications to people so that nobody is left behind, basically. So the migration take a bit.
I got another question, Reese.
Mm-hmm.
When y'all make the swap to ImmutableX, do you think you're going to leave some tokens behind?
Good question. It's a good question. It's definitely been discussed because obviously we've started with quite a high number of tokens and frankly don't need that many in the reserve and those things. So it is an option, but I can't really give any more information on it at this point.
NDA. Hey, we love it anyway, brother.
That's it. We have brought on a bit of an exchange and token, expert, which is going to help us guide those things and continue to manage the utility of the token and just make sure the system is running as optimally as possible and to the benefit of everybody. So, yeah, I'm personally in favor of leaving a lot of tokens behind, as many as we can.
So are we.
Yeah. So I'll definitely be pushing for it, and look, fundamentally that creates value for everybody, right? That everyone in the ecosystem, the business, all token holders. So, yeah, if there's a way to do it and it makes sense for us from a business standpoint, it'll happen.
Thank you, Mr. Reese, for answering that question.
Yeah, very welcome.
Question, Reese. One is,
I lost you there, mate.
Do you believe that the 3-second banner time after you place an auction that disables you from doing anything else will be addressed in the next few updates? And second question, if you were to go all in, like balls to the wall, would you prefer collectibles on the VeVe app or OMI tokens yourself?
So the banner, I don't know. You mean how it comes up and says like you've been outbid or you've placed a bid or something and you have to wait a second or two?
Yeah, and you can't do anything in the meantime. Yeah.
I'm not sure on that front. I think it's when you say you can't do anything in the, you mean you can't place a bid or you just can't do anything in the app?
You can't do anything in the app. You can't scroll up or down. You can't place a bid. You can't go back. You have to wait until it's done, and then you are able to resume.
Move to the next thing. Yeah, interesting. I'll find out about that. My initial impression is that might be a bit of a mechanism to cut out bots. As you know, then we can see on our end if something's happening quicker than that, and we know that you can't physically do it. Well, then we can shut that account down.
That makes
Yeah, so some of those things are probably, there's usually a reason behind them. As to me personally, I see value in both the collectibles and the token. I am a bigger supporter of the token, purely because I'm not a collector per se, right? I don't have a collectibles background like David or anything like that. Now, there's definitely collectibles that I attach value to, and will be holding for the foreseeable future. You know, those early Batmans and Series 1 collectibles and all that kind of stuff. But from a personal standpoint, OMI all the way for me.
Thank you. I really appreciate all your input.
No problem.
I've got a couple questions from the community.
Yeah, let's go. Are these coming from the voice chat channel or just you?
VeVe Hive. I just take questions over the week, and when I get a chance, I ask them.
Yep, easy. Let's do it.
So, well, this one isn't really a question, but someone wanted to know if, like, when you're selecting your collectibles in your showroom, at this point, it's like you have to scroll left a lot. So they wanted to know if there is any plans for like maybe sorting that by brand or something like it is in the marketplace or something like that by series.
Yeah, I would think so. Obviously, if you hit the little see all button, that makes it a little bit easier. It brings up all your current collectibles.
Is that available in the showroom when you're trying to place stuff down?
That's a good question. I'll have to open my app, but I don't know if it's going to kick me out of this Discord if I do. I'll have to have a look at that after, or maybe someone else can do it.
I think that's what they were more talking about.
It doesn't do it?
No.
Okay. In that case, yeah. I mean, if that's feedback that we're getting and that's going to improve the user experience, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable to say that it's definitely something we can update. I think once we move to PC as well, I would expect that most people will design their showrooms on a PC. I think it'll just be more functional, and obviously having more screen space, you'll be able to see those lists. But yeah, I think once we get the filters right in the market, then we can start to look at where else we can use them in the app too.
Okay. So another one, this was a concern from someone. They said that 100 gems is purchasable in-app for 3,000 Thai baht, which is only equal to 95 USD. So they were wondering if you see that as a problem or what?
Just give me 1 sec. I'm just about to convert all my US dollars to Thai baht. That sounds delightful. No, I mean that's the first time I've heard of that.
So they said that it's like that with other currencies as well. That was just one of the exact examples they gave me.
That's really interesting. What I hear more often is that people are getting overcharged.
Right, me too, and that's what I said when he brought that up, and then he showed me proof.
Interesting. The way those exchange rates work depends on like it's an app store charge, right? And Dan shared another article with me recently because a lot of developed countries add digital asset taxes or I don't know what you would call it, but some sort of there's like a VAT tax plus extra tax, and that's why people are being overcharged. This is truly the first time I've heard someone say they were undercharged for it. My initial assumption is to say that might just be an app store thing too. If anyone else can come through with a bit of information about their currency, maybe because it's a developing country, app stores don't ping them with as much of a fee. But that's, I'm kind of just clutching at straws on that one, to be honest.
Okay, got it. So final question. I asked this before a couple weeks ago, and maybe I misinterpreted your answer. You said that there's nothing you can do if people want to make multiple accounts. So I just kind of took that as you guys don't care. So I just wanted some clarification on the multi-accounting and emulator situation.
Yep. So I think Dan mentioned it in our last video as well. We've obviously added some new measures to cut down on bots and emulators. Emulators aren't, in my opinion anyway, aren't necessarily a problem. I know some people just can't access the app with their current phone and they run an emulator for it, but for the most part, it's enabling access that is unintended. So they're being cut out as well. I think they were with the last update. I think more of those kind of limiting features will roll out with the next update, which also includes all the market filtering and sorting and things we were talking about. We're just waiting on the app stores to actually approve the build before they can go live. So I guess in reference to your initial question, if you have multiple phones and multiple accounts, there's not a lot we can do on our end to stop that happening, right? And some people just want to build ongoing collections. But if it's a bot or something that's really cheating the system or things like that, we've definitely stamped down on those and built in more ways to cut them out from the start. From a back end moderation perspective, if we're seeing the same as we've seen 5 accounts just constantly buying collectibles and then sending them to the one account to hold them or something like that, then it's more obvious that what's going on there. And yeah, there can definitely be some punishments there as well.
Right. So yeah, my question more was not whether or not you can prove it or how hard it would be to prove or whatever, but if you could, is it punishable? And is it only botting or multi-accounting as well?
So botting, definitely. Multi-accounting, I actually don't have the answer. If it was malicious, if it was giving people,
so like you said, what people are doing, they're buying collectibles on one account, you know, the ultra rares and the rare to bypass the account limit. And I'm sure, you know, in most cases they are sending them to one account, maybe selling them directly off the account they bought them, and then sending the gems, whatever. But yeah, I guess the question is that punishable? Rules?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, my assumption is that it's against rules, right? We want to make this whole thing as fair and equitable as we can for as many users as we can. As to how those punishments are dealt out or how they're identified, yeah, I'd have to ask Dan on that one. So maybe I can get an update for next week.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. And just on that, I think Dan's pinged me back from earlier. So the Batman Who Laughs, Michael's going to look into it this week. So I should have an update in the next few days, or we'll just see it become available for sale again. And in-app video recording is getting really close and likely this. So, you know, we could see that happen in the next few weeks as well. I also got confirmation earlier today that buybacks should be done and ready to go by the end of this month too. Might happen sooner, but it's definitely slated for this month. So some positive news for the token there as well.
Oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah, we did mention it in the community update video that it was back on, but yeah, that's what we're looking at.
I came a bit late. Could you reiterate the Batman Who Laughs thing you mentioned?
Yeah. So the Batman Who Laughs currently in the store, I think there's still 2,000 of them available for sale, except the buy now button isn't available. So people were just asking, is that a bug, or have we stopped? Have we chosen not to sell anymore to have some in stock for Comic-Con? So I just pinged Dan about it, and he's pinged Michael about it, and we'll hear back sometime soon as to why that's happened.
Hey, Reese, I have a community question.
Okay, this was going to be the last one, and then we're going to call it there. But I really appreciate Kyle, again, for posting this, and Reese and Trevor as well. We haven't heard Trevor because he left about an hour ago from this call, but we have already covered the Trevor conversation.
So if a user wants to create a fan website with the VeVe in the domain name, is that something that's going to be discouraged?
Yeah, I think so. Only because, and this is just my initial impression, like there's already some scam sites out there with VeVe in the name. And I think that the more that there is, the more sites with VeVe in the name, the more confusing it might get for new users to actually find, the core VeVe site. But it would really just depend on what the site was for. I guess we'd look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
VeVe as a name is obviously trademarked and copyrighted, so just from that point of view, you wouldn't want to run into any sort of issues there. Obviously, we're not just going to hunt you down, but there is always a legal counterpoint to that as well. So I would generally say it's probably not a good idea.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Appreciate it.
No problem.
That was easy. And there we're going to call it 1 hour 59. There's another 40, is that correct? No, 33 minutes left of this. Again, you can watch this on Kyle's thingy, but I have so much editing and uploading to do. And it's currently 11:30, and I'm hoping that I can maybe sleep at some point today. So yeah, we're gonna call it there, but thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Kyle, for doing this as far as uploading it. Thank you to Reese for answering questions, and thank you all for being such a great part of this community. As per usual, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is @ZakiZoo. I spoke about the new esports crypto NFT bridge, essentially. Very exciting. It's already on the channel, so check that out if you'd like to. But with that being said, thanks for watching. Have a great day, much love, and I'll see you in the next video.